All right, everybody, I think we'll go ahead and get started here this morning. Welcome to How To Tuesday. My name is Camille Abdel-Jawad. I'm your instruction outreach librarian, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today for our annotated bibliography webinar, all about how to do an annotated bibliography, what that looks like, why we utilize them in the academic setting, and how they are different from other common and sometimes confused assignments. If you're new to Park, welcome. We are so excited that you're here. If you're new to our How To Tuesday series, we are also so glad that you're here. This is a monthly webinar series that we do here at the Park University Library to help you with commonly asked questions in a small 30-minute window. So we love working with our students, and the library is here to answer any questions you have about research, about different kinds of research-related assignments, about finding sources, and we have so many really incredible resources to share with you today. So today we are going to go ahead and talk about, what is an annotated bibliography? How do I write one? What does that look like? I get a lot of questions about this from students because it isn't always the most easy or simple thing to do. If you've never written one before, it can be kind of overwhelming to know, what is my instructor looking for in this annotated bibliography, and what do these usually look like? We're also going to compare and contrast this with our literature review. This is a really common assignment as well from instructors, and sometimes these can get confused by students, right? Sometimes they're not quite sure what the differences are and what the purposes of a literature review is versus an annotated bibliography. Then I'm going to share some resources that we have available to help you and answer any questions you guys have in real time. So we're going to go ahead and get started with just a basic, what is an annotated bibliography and what is the point of them? Why do instructors assign them to students, and what can you do to write an effective annotated bibliography? So the very first thing that you want to do before you start writing your annotated bibliography is you have to go out and find resources that are related to your topic, right? If you have a research topic, you're writing a research paper, and your instructor assigns an annotated bibliography, the very first thing you have to do is go out and find resources that you can then annotate, right? So we're not going to go over that in depth, that process of going out and finding resources or finding articles. But if you are new to that, if you don't know where to start with that, please reach out to the library. Please contact me. All of my contact information is at the end of this presentation. But you can also contact us. We're available 24/7 via online chat at library.park.edu. So feel free to go to that website first, find some articles, and then come back to this so we can begin the process of the annotated bibliography. But once you have some resources or some works that you need to write annotations for, the very first thing you're going to want to do is just review the article, right? You have to read the article and begin your annotation with the main points and the purpose of the work, right? So if I'm doing research on how social media affects the mental health of teenagers, this is like my favorite topic to do examples on. You guys, if you've joined me for How To Tuesdays before, you've probably heard this one. So what's the difference, right? So, when we go and we find this resource on the topic, the very first thing we're going to do is, okay, what are the main points of this work or this article, right? What is the main points and what was the purpose of it, right? What did they seek to accomplish? Did they do a study, right? If they did an original study, let's say that they took away all of teenagers' cell phones and social media devices, and they put them in a room for 24 hours and measured their mental health, I don't know, then you would want to highlight the fact that they did a study and the results of that study within the annotation. Then you're going to want to draw connections between the work or whatever the citation is for, whether that's an article, a book, a journal article, an online resource, a video, whatever it is. You're going to want to discuss how you're going to use it in your research, right? So something really key about annotated bibliographies is they are usually a first step upon going on and doing your research project, right? That's really important to note because usually annotated bibliographies are not a standalone thing. What you're doing is you're going out and you're collecting sources that are going to be relevant for your research down the line. And that means that you will be looking at not only what is this research saying, right? What is this article, this video, this web resource saying, but how am I going to use it in my research, right? Another thing that is important to remember is there are different kinds of annotation styles, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But it's important to be aware of, what is your instructor looking for? What is the point of an annotated bibliography? Because there's different kinds, and a lot of times your instructor will have specific instructions of what they are looking for. Some kind of annotations are just informative. This is what was said. This is the results of the study, yada, yada, yada. And some are evaluative. They're more critical, right? So understanding, one, what kind of annotated bibliography do I need to write? And two, how can I effectively do that within my annotated bibliography? So, like I said, there's different kinds of annotations, different types, and different annotated bibliographies might have different purposes, right? Some are purely informative. They're going to be a summary of the work. So what was said, what conclusions were drawn, was there a study done, things like that. What were the results of the study? All of that good stuff. So, there might also be an indicative summary, right, or an indicative annotation. And that's going to include a summary, but it's only going to include the questions that were addressed in the work, not the answers. So that's going to look a little different, right? That's going to look like, how can, mental health be affected by social media, right? If we went back to our previous example, are teenagers positively affected by social media in their mental health? Do online discourse communities, assist with increasing mental health satisfaction in teenagers? Those would be kinds of things I would ask in the annotation, but I'm not going to provide the answer. Those are just the things that were asked in the resource so that when whoever's reading your annotated bibliography, they'll know these are the kinds of things that are addressed. Another type of annotated bibliography is a critical annotated bibliography or an evaluative. So what that means is there's going to be some summary, but there's also going to be some analysis of the author, of the resource, of the claims or points that they make, and more. They're going to put our critical thinking hats on, and we're going to say, this contains some bias, or this could use some nuance, or this is not always agreed upon in the field. Those are all really important things to notate if you're doing a critical or an evaluative annotated bibliography. And then it's also important to remember that sometimes they could have any or all of the above in the annotation. You might have a combination. Different annotated bibliographies require different things. So always check with your instructor for what they're looking for. But the good news is I have some framework to help you, because if this feels really overwhelming, like how do I even begin? It's important to remember that you're not all alone out there, right? You're not just trying to sort of piecemeal this together. We have framework such as the radar framework that can help you as you begin writing annotated bibliographies. So this is just kind of a little screenshot. I'm going to talk through this, but do know that the full radar framework is available in the resources guide. If you're watching this live, I'll put the link in the chat. If you are watching this on replay, it'll be in the description of this YouTube video. So feel free to go there. There are accompanying resources for everything I'm talking about, links to all of the guides, links to all the framework, links to example annotated bibliographies. So be sure to check that out as well as watch this video. All of that information will be in the description box or at that link that I just put into the chat. So the radar framework can help you as you begin writing, especially as you begin to learn the form of an annotated bibliography, right? So the very first step is to cite the source, right? In an annotated bibliography, you have to cite the resource, and then an annotation will follow it. Just like if you're thinking about, you're reading your textbook and you're writing annotations in the margins. It is the exact same idea, right? You're going to write notes or annotations following the citation. Then the radar framework is going to give us a little bit of something to go off of once you complete the summary of the annotated bibliography. So you can use radar, which stands for relevance, rationale, authority, accuracy, and looking for bias, right? So rationale again. The first one is relevance. How is this related to your topic? How are you going to use this research in your own paper or your own research question? What does it add to your research? All of those things are really important questions to ask yourself. Another important question would be, who is the audience for this? What sort of language is used to talk about it? And is it appropriate language? If you've worked with me before on kind of identifying sources, this radar framework is really helpful because it goes along with the exact same framework that we talk about on discerning whether this is going to be a source that will meet your information need, right? Radar is also going to talk about the authority of the author. Is this person who's writing it an authoritative persona on this topic? Do they have credentials? Do they have support for their claims? All of that good stuff. You're going to talk about the accuracy. And then finally, whether there's bias in this. All of these are really great questions to, again, supplement that critical or evaluative annotated bibliography. These are all things that can launch you to the actual annotation and continue to help develop that critical thinking skills of whether this is going to be a reliable resource for you to utilize in your research. So I wanted to give you guys an example of a sample annotation. That way you can just kind of see what that might look like. Again, you'll see up here at the top, we have the actual annotation, right? This is an APA format, and you'll see below there's a brief summary of what that work or that resource is talking about. And then there is a more critical evaluative annotation paragraph here that is going to talk about, what the resource will be used for, how it applies to the research that you're doing, things like that. So there's a full sample annotated bibliography, which has multiple sources, again, available at that link either in the description or in the chat here today. So please feel free to utilize that. All right, so what's the difference between a literature review and an annotated bibliography, right? This is something that really trips students up because they are similar, right? A lot of times you may be asked to do a lit review or an annotated bibliography. So what is the difference and how are they similar? Both a lit review and an annotated bibliography are going to review the literature, right? So regardless, you're going to go out to the library website, you're going to find sources, you're going to bring them back, and you're going to analyze them, right? You'll have to find sources, and you'll have to bring them back, read them, and write about them. But something that is different is the way that these are presented, the way we present the sources. Both of them also provide context for what research exists outside in the just general discourse of your community, right? Of your academic community. Who is writing about this topic? What research or literature exists on this topic? And then again, both are really common assignments for both college undergraduate and graduate students. However, there are some really key differences. The lit review is a coherent, standalone analysis essay, right? This could be turned in, this could be published, this could be the beginning of a really in-depth journal article, right? When you read a journal article, you'll usually see a lit review. And the thing about lit reviews is they are coherent. You could read them from top to bottom, and it is all one synchronous essay. The thing also about lit reviews is they should include the full scope of the literature on this topic, right? All the different points of view, all of the different developments on the topic, all the key players should be represented in your lit review. This is, a contrast from our annotated bibliography, because an annotated bibliography is not a coherent standalone analysis. It is just a series of citations followed by a paragraph or two that will then summarize and analyze the source, okay? So it's different because this is not going to be a standalone essay. This is usually a first step in further research, like we talked about earlier, right? So that's really important to know. It's not a standalone coherent thing. It is really just a series of citations followed by some paragraphs on it. Another key difference is there may only be a certain number of citations that are required for you, right? Your instructor might say, you need 10 citations or you need 10 sources for me. So go out, find 10 sources and bring those back for your annotated bibliography. Whereas the lit review, you're really aiming to include the full scope. So your annotated bibliography might not have every perspective or thing represented in the annotated bibliography. And again, this will likely be used to inform your research project, not be a standalone assignment or resource. All right. So here's an example of what these two look like and how they differ, right? So the review of literature is going to be, again, that standalone, fully immersed, fully integrated resources. So showing the connections between two different sources is a huge part of the review of literature. And you'll see that in this example. Whereas an annotated bibliography, there is no connection between the sources. They're just standalone annotations and entries rather than a full paper or full resource that shows those connections. So I think looking at these two samples really makes it clear the differences between these two. All right, so I want to show you guys the few resources we have to help you as you begin to do annotated bibliographies and with our library, right? So we have the Academic Success Center. That is a wonderful resource for you. We provide tutoring. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. We have library guides, and always, don't forget that your instructor is here to help you. So they can always provide more context and assistance for you if you need it. So I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to pull up our library guide that is specific to annotated bibliographies, okay? The URL on this is just library.park.edu/writing/annotated-bib. And again, that resource, that link is all on those resources page. So feel free to jump over there, pull this up alongside, and you can follow along with me. But we have a lot of resources for you here. For example, we have these videos that are going to help you. If this workshop isn't enough, there are plenty of resources and videos on here that can help. We also have different styles. So a Chicago style, an MLA style, and an APA style are all going to look different. Why? Because they have different resources and different types of annotations, right? The annotation is the same, but the citation is going to be different based on the style. So it's really important that you remember to check your citations. And if you are not sure how to cite an MLA or APA or Chicago style format, we actually have a full guide on that as well. You'll see here up at the top, there's some different tabs, including citing and plagiarism. So if you click on that, there are different guides for MLA, APA, and Chicago style citations. So feel free to utilize that and to go through and get some assistance on how to cite in all of these different citation styles. That's a really important thing to get right in your annotated bibliography. So going back to this page, again, we have full sample annotated bibliographies linked here. We have 5 different ones. So please feel free, take a look at those, really study what makes an annotated bibliography. And that way you can continue to refine your craft and practice this, because this is a skill that requires practice, just like a literature review. There are different elements in annotated bibliography that are listed here, different kinds of annotations, again, like what we've been through today. That radar framework is here as well, and also some tips on reading a scholarly article. That's all here as well. If you came here because you thought you were writing an annotated bibliography, but really you need to write a literature review, do not fear, because I have also done a How-To Tuesday on the literature review before. I did that last semester, so all of that is linked. You'll get a link to this recording tomorrow afternoon, and that will contain the link to all of our How-To Tuesday webinars, so you can go back and watch those. But we also have a full guide here as well under literature review. So if you want to learn more about lit reviews, I do have that resource here, as well as our annotated bibliography and our How-To Tuesday resource. All right, so one more thing I want to show you. If this is really difficult or uncomfortable for you, we do have writing tutors available, and we would love to support you with writing tutors. We have, even if you are not here in the Parkville area, we have writing tutors that are available to all of our students for free, and they're actually available 24/7. So this is really key, you guys. We want you to take advantage of that. This is through our Academic Success Center, and our Academic Success Center provides lots of resources. So if we click on that writing tutoring tab right there, you'll see that we have all kinds of information here about our writing tutors. You can meet face-to-face if you're here at the Parkville campus, or online via Zoom if you want to talk about your annotated bibliography, if you want some assistance with citations. All of that is available here. Or you can also actually do our new feature, which is tutor.com. We are so excited to roll this out and have students start utilizing it. But tutor.com is a really phenomenal resource with really awesome and strong tutors. These are people who have spent their life studying how to be a tutor and how to work with students just like you. So please utilize that. The only thing you have to do to get into tutor.com is click on this graphic right here. And there's 2 different things that you can do. You can either do essay drop-off, and with that, all you have to do is upload your annotated bibliography, give them some context about what your instructor was looking for. You can just copy and paste your assignment details, and they will provide some written feedback for you and line-by-line adjustments that will help you in developing your annotated bibliography. You can also actually schedule an appointment to meet via Zoom and help in real time if you want to do that instead. This is a really awesome service, you guys. This is something I would recommend all Park students doing. One, because it's free, right? It is free for you. You are a Park student and you deserve to have the most support that you can. So there is nothing preventing you. This is 24/7. Even if you're in a different time zone, this can really be assistance to you. And 2, even if you feel like you kind of have a good idea of what your annotated bibliography is, you feel confident in writing, there's always more room for improvement. So working with a tutor can help you unlock some things that you maybe didn't think or consider and bring your annotated bibliography to the next level. So I would highly recommend this for any students, regardless of experience level or comfortability with annotated bibliographies, because this is a really awesome service. And whether you do it with our Park tutors here on the Parkville campus, or if you're a distance education student and you want to work with tutor.com tutors, we would absolutely appreciate you jumping on and getting the help that you need. So please do not hesitate to do that. All right, so those are some of the resources we have to help you. I'm just going to jump back into our slideshow here and go through our last couple of slides. So what questions do you guys have for me as your librarian based on our, annotated bibliographies? What questions do you have? How can I help you today? All right, well, thank you guys so much for those questions. If you have questions and you're watching this back on replay, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My name is Camille Abdel-Jawad. Again, I'm your instruction and outreach librarian, and I would be so happy to work with you, especially if you are feeling uncomfortable with having to go out and find sources for your annotated bibliography. I can help you one-on-one with finding those resources. This is, a skill just like your annotated bibliography that has to be practiced, right? This is not something that everyone comes in knowing. This is not something that you should feel, like you're behind for not knowing, right? This is a skill that takes practice and a muscle that takes working out. So if you need assistance finding resources for your research, please do not hesitate to contact me. My email is listed here, but you can also actually schedule an appointment with me directly on my calendar. And that can help you with, managing your schedule, managing when you're gonna receive help. We also have 24/7 chat services. You can go to library.park.edu and they can help you 24/7, any time zone, any day. And they can assist you with finding resources. They are qualified librarians. It's not a robot. It's not any kind of automated Q&A. It is a real person that is there to help you. Please do not hesitate to reach out. And if you guys have any other questions, shoot me an email. Swing by the Norrington Center if you're here on the Parkville campus, and I'd be glad to answer them. So that is all I have for our How To Tuesday this month. Join us next month in February for our next How To Tuesday, where we will be talking about another frequently asked question, another handy trick. And if you struggle with citations, in March, we'll be doing our really popular How To Tuesday, which is Citations Made Easy. So come on by for that. You can register for all of those at the link in the description or in that resources page. So please feel free, join us for another one, and we would love to see you guys there. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.